Transmission request from Ambrose Manor.
Captain! Imagine my surprise when I saw the Unreliable leaving Gorgon with so much urgency and purpose. Tell me you found Mother's journal. I'm positively dying for good news. Too bad. But on the bright side, you've outdone my old freelancer. I don't think you made it very far at all. If I know Spacer's Choice, getting past the lockdown will be more complicated than just hitting a big red button. You'll need authorization, and layers of it. No, I think you're going to have to rely on good old-fashioned detective work. It's a good thing you have keen senses, a reliable ship, and a very wealthy sponsor. No, but I'm overjoyed that you had the courage to ask for one. You should always expect more from your employer. I seem to recall that Mother worked closely with Gorgon's R&D personnel, but not close enough to invite them over for dinner and cocktails, if you get my meaning. By now, they'll have moved on with their lives. If only I could do the same. I knew Mother was involved with some important chemical trials, but I had no idea her pet project was adrenatime. Adrenatime is a working man's stimulant, like a caffeinoid. Very popular at launch, though the marketing quieted down over time. What? No. I mean, there's some very morbid wording in the fine print, but I had no idea adrenatime could make marauders out of people. That's it. That must be it. Spacer's Choice is keeping their dirty little secret about adrenatime off the record. We have to find Mother's journal. If we don't, then Spacer's Choice gets away with murder. I only hope we aren't too late. Adrenatime was touted as the working man's best friend, a drug that boosted productivity with no adverse effects. The promise of adrenatime cannot be overstated. Exhaustion and fatigue were supposed to be obsolete. Workplace accidents would be things of the past. For whatever reason, the drug never lived up to that promise. I don't know. And thanks to Spacer's Choice, we may never find out. I know that I'd like to see a colony where the promise of adrenatime was fulfilled. And I doubt I'm the only one. Thank you. I certainly ought to know what I'm doing. I spent years trying to break into pharmaceuticals, professionally speaking. Mother wouldn't hear of it. She didn't think I had the wit to succeed in her line of work. Safe travels. If your leads give you any trouble, be sure and give them some trouble back, yes? Ta!
Can we talk?
Since we're in Byzantium, there's something I've been meaning to do. I haven't actually talked to my folks in a while. Shocking, right? Anyway, it's probably about time I paid them a visit. Given the dangerous life I lead, they've got to be worried sick. Whoa, let's calm down. I'm not asking for a favor or anything. I'm just suggesting we stop by when we're in the neighborhood. See, I'm originally from Byzantium, born and raised. I know that probably comes as a big surprise. Yeah, exactly. Reconnect is a strong word. And, I was thinking you'd come too. Great! And when we get there, draw out your rough edges a bit. If you've got an outfit you haven't washed in a while, maybe one with some blood stains, wear that one. Oh, and help yourself to the good snacks and put your feet on the coffee table. Mother hates that. Just know that I've got plenty more suggestions if you need them. Anything else? Things on Monarch have really cooled off. I didn't think MSI and the Iconoclast would ever talk. Outside of shouting four-letter words, I mean. Sure, and fish sticks are really made from Saltuna. Look, I won't knock the work you did. I'm sure they'll have a good cry, look through old photographs, share a pint of premium double chocolate cacao gelato. But sooner or later, things will go back to the way they were. People don't change. Not really. In my experience, it's spread real thin. Anyway, I'd hate to see you get broken up if this thing between them doesn't last. Hey, let's not make this out to be more than it is. Anything else? What did I tell you? His down with the man shtick was just an act. No one who yammers that much means half of it. Take a page out of my rule book. Don't trust anyone. Then it's easy. Don't get all mushy on me now. Come on, what did we just learn? People look out for their own interests. It's a fundamental law of nature, same as gravity and conservation of motion. See, this is what I like about you. You may not be from here, but you fit right in. You're not helping this scientist because you think that crackpot will save the colony. And here I thought I'd seen it all. This galaxy must be bigger than I'd thought. Enough about Harlow, though. Anything else? I sure hope you negotiated for a raise with this Phineas guy. Ever notice how this job gets bigger and more dangerous every time he calls in? He's asking a lot, Captain. Makes me wonder what your angle is. I knew a doctor like him once. He had a patient complaining of ankle pain, so he amputated the man's foot. Wasn't even the right one. Point is, good intentions don't count for shit. And nothing's more dangerous than a crusader with a cause. Besides, none of this is your mess, so why go dirtying your hands with it? Guess I hadn't looked at it that way. Still, Phineas isn't your only option. The board's put a bounty on his head, and they've got more than enough bits to pay it. I've got no love for the corporations, but they know how to take care of their people. The ones at the top, anyway. Exactly. You seem to have a good head on your shoulders, so I probably don't need to tell you this, but look out for yourself. No one else out here will. Don't mention it, just speaking from experience. Anything else? You know I've got no love for top-rungers, but if Minnie's willing to pay, I say we take her money. Sure, like Ada said, he was a big name among freelancers. I met him at Lost Hope once. He was buying rounds for everyone and telling a story about one of his jobs. Pretty sure half of it was made up. You ever get the feeling someone's just trying too hard? There was just something about Montoya I couldn't quite trust. He was always the center of a room, and he slapped a lot of backs to stay there. I'm trying to say that if he screwed this job up, that's on him. I still like our odds. He may have had a rep, but you're more capable than he ever was. Hey, don't get used to it. What's on your mind? From his arm? The decay makes it hard to tell. Could be a lot of things. Torn off by something with big teeth, torn off by something with big claws, torn off by someone with a moderately sharp blade. Or maybe he just got too close to heavy machinery. Sure. Something on your mind? I'm a surgeon by training and a pirate by inclination. Not much else to know, Captain. I like long walks on the promenade and the smell of Spacer's Corona. I make a mean zero-G cocktail and I've got a meaner right hook. Sure do. Some of it was even legal. What gave it away? It's the hair, right? Or maybe the ammo belt? I had it custom made. Gotta advertise your business somehow. I've done all types of work with all kinds of crews. If there's one thing you ought to know about me, it's that I won't tell you your business. Your ship, your way. Glad to hear it. It's worked for me this long. It's a mix of whatever you've got on hand. Usually zero-G brew with some Spectrum vodka if you're lucky, purple berry shake if you're not. I'll make you one sometime. If you don't enjoy it, I'll make a few more until you do. No complaints here. It's like one of those stuffy art gallery pieces. Looks okay from far off, but once you get close, you realize it's just some mismatched shit everyone's agreed to overpay for. Even the bribes are overpriced. The real question is, why didn't I leave sooner? There's all these invisible rules, and everyone spends all their energy just trying not to break them. I was a top-tier surgeon, but I could hardly open a pack of gauze without 10 people signing off first. That's no way to live. People call Byzantium the jewel of Halcyon, but really, it's just paste. Everything's polished and bureaucracy. Take a close look and you'll see it's deader than anywhere else in the colony. Don't trust anyone, don't touch anything, and whatever you do, don't show your teeth when you smile. People are extremely competitive about cosmetic dentistry. It can get ugly. Interesting like a colonoscopy. I trained as a surgeon. More my folks' idea than mine, but I made the best of it. Lots of them, unfortunately. I even sculpted a few. Turns out Byzantines are more concerned with having square shoulders and a good profile than, well, anything else. That's what I've been saying.
By the law, look at those arms. How'd you like to show those?
It really does gleam like spit-shined gold. Just imagine busting up all these windows, looting all these stores.
Hortense yells at me about big...
Citizens, today marks a monumentous occasion in the course of Halcyon history.
This is where those who fancy themselves the best and brightest of our society live. Trespassing here is a true honor.
Welcome to the Musgrave Family Collection. Still a work in progress. I'll tell you what I've told all the other guards. Mind your boots. Our floors are not made for armor. If you're here for the annual Canid review, I'm afraid it's already over. Only thing going on behind those doors is good, old-fashioned lawful behavior. This greeting constitutes your confidentiality agreement. You hereby agree not to disclose the location or existence of these events. Thank you for cooperating. Oh, that's just so encouraging to hear. I'll just go ahead and add your comment to my permanent record. Now then, how can I help you? Mr. Mostly is indeed attending our event, although I am disappointed to discover he did not officially enter his canid B.L.A.C.K into our competition. You should find Mr. Mostly just inside the prep room. Head inside and take the door to your left. We find that our clients enjoy the appearance of participating in illegal activities. Secrecy contributes to a feeling of indecency. The Musgrave Family Collection was intended to be a gallery of fine art. And here we are, using this place to practice semi-legal canid shows. Scandalous, isn't it? That's privileged information. I really shouldn't tell you. That's a fair point. All right, I'll tell you. But just keep this between us. The Musgraves own one of Earth's largest private collections of art and literature. They were going to have the entire collection shipped all the way to Halcyon. Unfortunately, that collection never arrived. We haven't heard anything from the delivery convoy, and there's some purely hypothetical concern that the collection might be, well... I was going to say indefinitely delayed by unforeseen and unknowable circumstances, but yes. Let's go with that. Anyway, that's as much as I can tell you. Will there be anything else?
It's all in the wrist.
Oh, just hear me out. It's a brilliant idea.
Do you know the interesting thing about canid shows? Mathematically speaking, the interesting thing about canid shows is this. They're an exercise in futility. Winning is predetermined. Over time, the inevitable trend is that the race goes to the swift. Time and chance are just statistical outliers. In other words, if you put enough canids through enough trials, the one with the most optimal attributes generally wins. Exercise in futility. What gave me away? Wait, don't tell me. You've read my monograph, Putting the Us in Calculus, or How to Use Mathematics to Find Your Statistically Significant Other. I'm afraid I don't really do autographs, but yes, I am Clarence Mostly. Yes, that's us. Mostly oak trees, too. My grandfather invented them, you know. Well, no, he didn't invent mostly oaks, but he did purchase the naming rights back during the terraforming days. It's essentially the same thing. Oh. Then you're not here about my monograph. It's true, I was involved with Project Gorgon, but that chapter of my life is long since closed. Listen, I don't know what you want with Gorgon or with me, but let me give you some free advice, Let the past go. Live in the moment. Enjoy the party. I was wondering if you were the sort of person to accept sensible advice or respond with threats of violence. Thank you for resolving that ambiguity for me. Lifting the lockdown won't be easy. You'll need to send overrides from the chem lab and human inquiry. I don't have that level of clearance, but I know 2 people who do. The trouble is, I don't know you. I don't trust you. I washed my hands of Gorgon, and you're asking me to dirty them all over again. I'm going to need a good reason. Right, of course. Thank you for reminding me. Point well taken. I want a favor from you. Do something for me, and I'll do something for you. That way we don't have to rely on mutual trust. A grand prize trophy to the Canid Review. I want it in my hands. Get me that trophy, and I'll give you the remaining researchers. Names, locations, as much information as I have. My Canid, Laplace, is statistically superior to every other Canid in this review. Better average sprinting time, superior gait coefficient, optimal anatomical symmetry. I didn't bother entering little Laplace in this pointless contest. He's already won on paper, you see. That trophy rightfully belongs to him. Head into the main hall and take the elevator down into the maintenance tunnels. You'll find a service passage that leads up into the trophy room. The maintenance tunnel is the only way up into the trophy room. Some technician barred the door shut on our end. Ask Tilda Coatsworth about it, over by the podium. What's on your mind? At the moment, nothing. I have a one-track mind. I can't stop thinking about that trophy. Why isn't it in my hands? When is it going to be in my hands? And so on and so forth. You get me that Best in Show trophy, and it'll clear my mind right up. My eye! I was wondering where I'd misplaced that old thing. It's perfectly preserved, you know. Every eye possesses unique dimensions, not unlike a fingerprint. The circumference, the shape, the color of the iris. An eye makes excellent proof of identification, assuming you don't mind removing one. I'd rather not get into the details. If Spacer's Choice ever asks you to test out their new model of monocle, just say no. Well, that's rather responsible of you. I'll put a good word in your permanent record. What's on your mind?
It's not Canid hunting all.
Canids. What kind of monster does something like this? Nice. If there's one thing I've learned traveling with you, it's that theft is but a state of mind.
Come now, Anubis, you must come.
It seems people who've never known a struggle will use any means necessary to evoke the thrill of uncertainty, no matter how banal.
Never cared much for hors d'oeuvres. The word is just grotesque. All those superfluous letters ruin my appetite. Dead canids in the service tunnels. Domesticated canids? Why, that's utterly revolting. My dear friend, I would not dream of hurting a canid. Every canid, regardless of their physical attributes, is a companion to their master. To kill a companion is a profound and unforgivable breach of trust. I'm glad I chose not to participate in this loathsome canid review. I will, however, take their trophy. My trophy! Look at this thing! Have you ever seen a more garish monument to the boredom of the elite? If only Grandfather Mostly were alive today, I would have loved to wave this trophy right in front of his cataracts. I hope you won't take it personally when I say I had my doubts about you. Nothing ever gets done in Byzantium, you see. Competent work is, well, a statistical anomaly. Lifting the emergency lockdown requires overrides from the Chem Lab and Human Inquiry. Access to those facilities requires authorizations from 2 senior-level researchers, Marion Blakesley, Jasper Lowe. They went into hiding after the project collapsed, but I've managed to calculate their last known whereabouts within a reasonable margin of error. I see you're familiar with my technique. I'd love to show you my numbers, but there aren't nearly enough napkins in this room. After the project shut down, I had to keep my mind occupied. I worked on my actuarial tables, calculated the average lifespan of a Spacer's Choice worker, that sort of thing. I realized some of the researchers had to be alive. I ran some numbers, did a little research, and concluded that the 2 most likely survivors are Marion Blakesley and Jasper Lowe. Nonsense. I just needed a good old-fashioned statistical problem to busy my mind. Keeps the faculties lubricated. Let me stop you there. I don't accept anything for free. And if you're going to analyze me, I'd have to go through the trouble of hiring you on contract. Think what you will of my intentions, my calculations are sound. You'll find Marion Blakesley and Jasper Lowe at the enclosed locations. As far as I know, Jasper Lowe and Marion Blakesley are the only two surviving researchers with high-level clearance. If you want to lift the lockdown on the manufactory, you'll need to send an override from the Chem Lab and Human Inquiry. I'm afraid it's the only way. I'll tell you what I can. Dr. Marion Blakesley supervised the Human Inquiry and Auditing Facility. Live subjects, measuring tape and syringes, that sort of thing. Someone sabotaged the facility. Blakesley tendered her resignation and vanished. I'm reasonably certain she's hiding in a maintenance bay on Groundbreaker. Well, with Spacer's choice equipment, who even knows? Dr. Blakesley tendered her resignation lawfully, but under suspicious circumstances. If you want to know more, you'd best ask her yourself. I'm asking you to trust in the predictive power of data. Dr. Blakesley may have disappeared after that sabotage incident, but the trajectory of her life was implied in her permanent record. Dr. Lowe described himself as a dazzling genius in his review. I disagreed. Of the 19 criteria that constitute the rubric of genius, Dr. Lowe only met 15. After the project shut down, corporate traded him off to Anti-Cleo in exchange for 5 lab coats. He's been transferred to an orbital lab around Olympus. Oh dear. How do I explain this without using too many syllables? Lab coats means scientists. It's a colloquial... It's slang. Let's get back on topic. You'll find Dr. Lowe in an orbital lab around Olympus. Certainly. What's on your mind? Let's try to keep it down, shall we? At least pretend we're being discreet? There's not a lot about Project Gorgon I can tell you. I know that's not what you wanted to hear, but I closed that chapter in my life. I've moved on. Look, don't tell anyone I said this. But if there's anything I've learned by living in Byzantium, it's this. If you go looking for the truth, you are looking for trouble. All right. Ask your questions. And then if you don't mind, don't mention Project Gorgon anywhere near me again. Minnie Ambrose. Oh, Olivia's brat. Ambitious, but like the rest of her family, irrelevant. She tried following her mother's example, failed, and if she ever tried again, I couldn't tell you. The name Ambrose doesn't mean anything to me anymore, or to anyone halfway respectable. The Ambroses are, how do I put this politely, obsolete? A family's name is only as strong as its enterprise. The Musgraves have Rizzos, and the Schuyler's have Anti-Cleo, and so we show those names the respect they deserve. The Ambrose name was associated with Project Gorgon. The project died, and so the Ambrose name died with it. That's just the way the game is played. Project Gorgon was designed to change the life of every worker on Halcyon. We weren't just building a product, we were trying to build a society. How many workers call Halcyon their home? What do they eat and when? How long do they sleep? How hard do they work? What are their most productive years? When do their organs begin to fail? That's the nature of my work. I study human life in order to determine its value. Jewelers appraise diamonds, and I appraise people. Of course you can. You can break the entire universe down into numbers and statistics. Human beings are as much a part of the universe as weather patterns and orbital mechanics.
Forgive me, Mr. Mosley, if I seem awestruck. I've not heard so many profoundly incorrect statements uttered in a single breath since I myself spouted them.
A vicar with a sense of humor. There's a statistical outlier. It's complicated. I'll be honest, I didn't join Project Gorgon because I wanted to satisfy my intellectual curiosity. I was courting the daughter of a Spacer's Choice family. We were a mathematically congruent match, you see. I had the proofs all written out and everything. I see you've been in the same situation. Yes, she wasn't impressed by my absolute value. After she made her feelings clear, I left the project. Everything. Every project has a margin of failure. We expect setbacks, complications, delays. Project Gorgon experienced a cascade failure. One mistake precipitated another, and another, and another. The labs failed to develop a safe drug. Human Inquiry failed to perform their tests responsibly. An unsafe drug tested on unhealthy subjects by irresponsible supervisors. That's Project Gorgon. I know. Project Gorgon was a failure of leadership. Leadership to which I belonged. I should have pushed for stricter supervision. We gave the other departments too much freedom and not enough oversight. Spare the rod, spoil the servant. Anarchy is not a crime. It is a symptom. The undisciplined workplace secretes anarchy the way our glands secrete enzymes. It's a principle of science. Sabotage came first. The chem lab, Human Inquiry, even my own office. Sabotage broke the discipline of our workplace, leading to confusion, leading to escaped subjects, leading to anarchy. No one appreciates the value of good data. The holistic surveillance device I wear is an invaluable tool, gathering data on all my day-to-day activities. My former colleagues can go into hiding and live in ignorance for all I care. I prefer the self-examined life.
Someone has left a threatening message on your terminal, Captain. I was unable to trace its origin. Please make a note of it. We've arrived at the Olympus Orbital Pharmaceutical Station.
Another science lab, another dead body. How refreshing.
system.
Hey, what would happen if this station fell into Olympus? Would we just keep falling forever? Just asking. I was just getting started. Well done.
You'll have to show me how to do that.
Done and done.